Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. And here we go. Football season just around the corner here, especially for high school. But a couple of other things I want to talk about first. Stratford's going to have a new boys basketball coach.
Yeah, I see Kurt Schmidt hanging it up. You know, it's funny. Their coaching staff has just been changing. Yeah. You know, it's Coach Tubbs gave up the football. Now, Kurt Schmidt, who has been at the boys, he coached the girls before he coached the boys even. So he's been up there a long time, but he's backing off. So
21 years. And he'll be replaced by Fond du Lac native Drew Jorgensen, who's a fairly young guy because he graduated from Ripon just 2 years ago.
Okay, so he's probably about a 2020 graduate then, or 2019 or so. So
back when the Tigers were good and couldn't go anywhere that year.
Yeah, right.
24-0 in that COVID season.
Yeah, that would have been that'd been 2020. So it's and Coach Schmidt has really put together a nice program, but they are always going to be defined by that team that did not get a chance to in the COVID year, because they were an awesome team.
Well, I tell you, even if they didn't do it, I think they would have.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a juggernaut.
There was so much length, so much height, and that doesn't even. And their team speed was tremendous.
Yes.
And then you start throwing in people like Barton below, and Neillsville played them in the regionals that year.
Yeah, and they couldn't even compete.
And it was just almost. I'll tell you, the guy who had the most luck against Barton was Mason Renz, who was a big old, probably sophomore then, and not his body type wasn't quite what it was when he finished, because he really improved a lot, but he was at least able to get in Barton's way that night. But
he was about the only guy that Stratford has not had a losing season under Schmidt since 2014.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Good team. And and those kids are always at a handicap because they always go a lot of length in the football season too. So they really start off. They probably it takes them a while to get their sea legs before Christmas, because usually they're playing football till the middle of November. So
right before deer hunting, they're usually playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So
all right, so Stratford looking for they have a new coach for boys basketball. Also, the matchups are set. I guess we're still talking baseball.
Yeah.
Not Major League Baseball, but the Wisconsin Baseball Association. Yep. And they have their state tournament brackets coming up. There are still a few area teams. The Osceola Merchants will be playing up in Hayward tomorrow night. The Wisconsin Rapids Redhawks are playing tomorrow night. And the Everest Merchants are still in it. They play on Saturday morning. That's in the B division. In the A division. The B division, Abbotsford Merchants, they're playing tomorrow night. Rib Lake is playing tomorrow night. And, those are the teams that are in it yet.
Those are two longtime tremendous baseball towns, Abbotsford and Rib Lake.
Yeah.
Oh, the Abbotsford Merchants have been going on, Larry, since I was a kid. It just keeps going on and on and on. So,
So that'll be tomorrow night, and Saturday will be the first round games, and then they'll play second round games later on Saturday, and the championship will be on Sunday for both those.
Yeah, they really this is a long season for those guys.
It is.
Usually most of them don't play till probably Mother's Day, but still.
And they play a lot of games a week.
Yeah, and some of those kids, a lot of guys they played college ball or high school, so they've been going.
They've been playing a long time.
But they love the game too,
right,
so it's part of it too.
That's why they do it.
That's why
they do it.
Yeah.
And before I forget, the Neillsville Rec Department and Neillsville Youth Football are offering youth flag football again for boys and girls in 1st through 6th grades. So register for that. You have until Saturday. They like to have pre-registration. They're going to start September 6th.
Yeah, they're going to have before that, I think they're going to have a day where they meet the coaches and go through everything, just kind of like a little dress rehearsal before they start their Saturday season. So, but they want to have them all signed up, I believe, by the 16th, and they usually draw a lot of kids, and usually it's two divisions. They kind of have a older division and a smaller division, so your little guys are not going to be in against the big guys. So
and the high school football players
absolutely.
are coaches.
They really all of them are out there pretty much, and they do a nice job with those kids realize that those younger kids look up to them as role models too, and that's a big part of it.
You bet. And that kind of segues us right into high school football, where a lot of scrimmages coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I said I always look forward. You've been going at this the first week. Was a lot of conditioning and stuff, and by the end of that second week, you're ready to face somebody else besides your own teammates. And as I always look forward to that first scrimmage, and we'll have 4 teams here in Neillsville on Saturday with Marathon and Loyal Greenwood. They will be scrimmaging Neillsville. And then Black River Falls will be also against Marathon and Loyal Greenwood. So it's should be a pretty interesting morning. So it's Coach, the interview with Coach Lehman will tell you what's going on, but I think it's a good chance to get up and see what these teams are. So
they originally had Assumption on that schedule too, but
they
had to back out.
Yep.
So they're not going to be there.
Yeah, and Neillsville will be scrimmaging Loyal Greenwood, but that is because Marathon and Loyal Greenwood don't want to scrimmage because they will be a conference foe. So,
and Coach Lehman mentions that as well, as I had a chance to talk with him earlier in the week, and he talks about what's going to be happening at that scrimmage.
All right, Coach, you got the scrimmage coming up on Saturday. I know this has been probably one of the few times you've had a scrimmage here in Neillsville. What can people expect to see if they come out to the scrimmage Saturday?
Well, I mean, we'll have all of our scrimmaging will happen on the game field. It'll be kind of nice because we'll have varsity will go, and then JV will be right after on the same field against the same team. So it'll be nice because we'll be able to keep all of our kids and all of our coaches and fans all in one area to kind of watch. We'll have concessions going, so for those people that want to get some food and things, we'll have some concessions out here for some people, and and hopefully then when it comes to the football part, we'll be able to hopefully get our kids prepared to fly around and play some football.
Now, as far as the scrimmage goes, how is the field set up? I know you said that the fans and the players and coaches are all going to be in one area. How is it going to be set up on Saturday?
So we go 40-yard line in on both ends of the field. So it'll be like we'll be going against one of the teams from the 40 going into to the east, and then the other two teams will be playing 40-yard line in going to the west. And then it's 4 plays to get a first down. If you don't get a first down, you just go back to the 40. There's no special teams, no punting, kicking, extra points, anything like that.
Okay. And so fans will be able to see all 4 teams playing at the same time.
Right. Yep. You'll be able to see all 4 teams playing at the same time. So I mean, it'll be kind of if your team's playing on one end of the field, you probably move to that end of the bleachers or whatever. But it'll be all up outside the fence, so on the hills on either side as well. So
now you mentioned you get 4 downs to get a first down, and then do they switch sides as far as offense and defense, or how is that going to work?
Well, no. So it'll be a little bit different format this year than some other years. We're going to have it timed. So let's just say if we were on offense first, we get 15 minutes of offense against the other team, and then we get 3 plays from the 5-yard line to try to score, and then the other team will get the ball. We'll have 15 minutes of defense. They'll get their 3 plays from the 5-yard line, and then we'll go 8 minutes of JV offense and 8 minutes of JV defense after that.
Okay, all right. And then who are you going to play? I mean, is it going to be you don't play all the other teams involved in the scrimmage, do you?
Nope. So the way it's formatted right now, we'll end up playing Marathon, I believe, and Loyal Greenwood. Which is kind of interesting since we play them week 2, but it's just kind of they have Marathon in their conference, so they didn't want to have to play a conference team in the scrimmage. And
that's head coach Reed Lehman of the Neillsville Granton Warriors, and with this year's team, we talked to him when he was here as our guest. He's got a lot of those guys back this year, which is a little bit different than what it was last year.
Yeah, and a lot of those kids, Larry, have grown up and matured too.
Yeah.
Last year they were freshmen and sophomores. A lot of them play. I mean, you look at the lines that Neillsville put out there. At times there was 3, maybe even 4 freshmen out there.
Right.
And these kids are all maturing. They should be bigger, stronger, hopefully faster, and hopefully it leads to more success too. And last year, a lot of unfair things when you got a lot of seniors going against sophomores and freshmen, and the injuries really took their toll last year. So, I mean, Gunnar Barth didn't get a whole full season out, and there was a few others, and just hard.
Well, and your best offensive lineman
absolutely.
was out right away.
Right away, first scrimmage.
Preston Berg never did play.
So it's you got to put that in the back mirror and go out and establish a new thing. So it's a new season, and this scrimmage and those first 2 non-conference games really got to establish yourself. So
hard to believe, a week from Friday.
Yeah, we'll be down in New Lisbon. First time for that one too.
Yes, never been to New Lisbon for football.
We talk about bucket list. Yeah. That wasn't one on my bucket list.
Not a bucket list, but we've never been there. So football scrimmages tomorrow night. Stratford is at DC Everest. Auburndale at Watoma. Actually, tomorrow. They're not tomorrow night. Medford, Regis, and Menominee are all at Edgar. Colby is at Tomahawk. Spencer, Columbus, Abbotsford, Elk Mound, and Spring Valley are at Stanley Boyd. Cadott at Fall Creek. and Mosinee is at DC Everest as well.
Yeah,
so that'll be a good scrimmage there at DC Everest.
You bet, absolutely.
Good teams there.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job bringing teams in there. So and a lot of times Edgar's and the Stratfords will get involved there and go against those D1 schools, and it helps them a lot. So
and one of the things we talked about before we went on. One big thing coming out of a scrimmage is nobody gets hurt.
Absolutely. As I said, most of these teams are lucky if they've got 30, 40 bodies, and probably you figure 10 a class or whatever. But if you got any depth at all, you hate to lose it right away in the scrimmage.
Right.
So,
yeah,
you want to hit somebody else, but you also want to come out of this healthy because if nothing else, you want to start the season healthy. So,
yes, very, very much so, yes. All right, the preseason poll came out for college football.
Yes.
The AP poll, preseason poll came out.
And interesting since other than the coaches poll that Penn State was slotted ahead, and I don't get that.
I don't either. I don't know how they got there.
And Texas number one, both sides, and that just leads to the August 30th game, Texas at Ohio State, and Texas has already been established as an underdog in that game. First time a number one team is an underdog. But
I don't understand that either.
I don't. Well, I think they got them probably even. And then you get 3 points for home team, and the game's in Columbus. But we'll see what happens, and we'll see if Arch Manning is all he is. So
because Ohio State, I'm sure they lost some kids from last year.
Yeah, they were coming in with a new quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason Penn State got slotted ahead of them here because they have one of the better quarterbacks in Drew Aller.
They got a lot of kids, a lot of people back.
Yeah, this might be James Franklin's team here.
Yeah,
quite possibly. But he's got to get through that gauntlet. Of Ohio State and Michigan and to do it. So,
right.
And he's never been able to do that, quite honestly. So,
yeah. Any surprises there in that top 25?
I really didn't see any. I just, I said, Illinois being up at 12. I don't know if they're that good. It's
ahead of Michigan, actually.
Yeah, ahead of Michigan. I don't really know about that. But
Indiana makes the top 20.
Indiana, and that's. They've had the last few years. They've had a pretty good team, but there again, they draw that gauntlet out there in the East out there. So, but of course, the Big Ten schedule isn't quite what it's a little more balanced. So, but
there's no divisions anymore.
And I think it's interesting. Yeah, you got Oregon at number 7, but you don't see a USC or a UCLA there. So, but for the most part, you get through 8 through 13. Both polls are the same. So. But, Boise State, I don't know. Tennessee, I thought was a little low, too, down at 24. And they're not even in the AP. They're at 18 in the coaches' polls. So,
okay.
So
yeah, it's always interesting to compare those two polls.
But then again, you got to – this is a preseason poll.
Right.
And I'm not big on them. And the fact that Texas gets number one – always seems to give that team an advantage for the rest of the season.
Right, because they're always there.
And, of course, we got to remember that the rankings for the playoffs, they don't start that till mid-season. Right. So, I mean, these are good talking points, but – though it is, you do have that great opener with Texas and Ohio State, excuse me.
There are a few other ones that are coming up in the first week.
Yeah, I went through the schedule a whole lot, but
there's a few top 10 matchups in that.
And
first
I think
week.
these teams realize that they've got to have these matchups and these wins to be able to qualify for that playoff.
Right.
They're not wins. And I hate to single the Badgers out, but they're starting with Miami of Ohio and Middle Tennessee. Those games don't mean squat to the college football playoff.
No.
So
well, I don't know.
But you got to schedule them too. So.
I don't know if the Badgers will be in.
No, I don't think we have to worry about it. But we'll talk about them a bit. But yeah, they haven't been on. They aren't on anybody's radar. I guarantee you that. So, but it'll be interesting because. Nobody knows anything about him. We'll see. I don't know much about
their quarterback. Did he play last year?
Yeah, he transferred in from somewhere. Billy Edwards is his name. He transferred in. I forget from where, though.
Oh, okay.
So, I haven't done that much. I see they had preseason practice down at Platteville. So
they're back now.
Yeah.
But, it'll be interesting to see the Badgers.
Quite honestly, the Packers and the Brewers put everybody else in the state on the back burner these days.
Especially the Brewers.
Yeah.
Who we'll talk about
We will talk about them.
All right, before we do get into the Brewers, let's go to where are they now?
Okay, Larry, speaking of Stratford, we're going to go up to Stratford and talk about Sam Wenzel. Sam is a 2016 graduate of Stratford High School, In the fall, Sam was a 3-year letter winner on the Stratford football team. His sophomore year, the Tigers were 10-2 on the season. They were co-champs in the Merriwood Conference, qualifying for the WI Division V playoffs, where they lost in Level 3 to Amherst. Sam, as a backup quarterback, completed 2 of 6 for 15 yards. His junior year, the Tigers were 7-4, qualifying for the WI Division V playoffs, where they lost in Level 2 to Amherst. Sam, as a backup quarterback, completed 9 of 17 passes for 110 yards and 1 touchdown. His senior year, the Tigers were 9-3, qualifying for the WI Division V playoffs, where they lost in Level 3 to Spencer Columbus. Sam, now the starting quarterback, completed 42 of 64 passes for 738 yards and 7 touchdowns, and was an honorable mention selection on the Merriwood All-Conference team. In the winter, Sam was a 4-year letter winner on the Stratford wrestling team. His freshman year, wrestling at 106 pounds, Sam was 8-3 on the season. His sophomore year, wrestling at 106 pounds, Sam was 36-12 on the season. He was Merriwood Regional and Sectional Champion, qualifying for the WI Division III state tournament, where he would finish 4th. His junior year, Sam was 31-13 on the season, wrestling at 132 pounds. He was Merriwood and Regional Champion and a sectional runner-up, qualifying for the WIA Division III state tournament. His senior year, Sam wrestled at 138 pounds, was 41-9 on the season. He was Merriwood and Regional Champion and a sectional runner-up, qualifying for the WI Division III state tournament. That year, Stratford was a sectional team champion, qualifying for the WIA Division III state tournament, where they defeated Spring Valley Elmwood in the semis 43-26 before losing in the finals to Fenimore 27-26, and that was a 26-26 match. That 1-point difference was a criteria point, Larry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe the first criteria was more pins, so they got that extra point. That's how they lost the state championship.
Wow.
Yeah. So, for his career at Stratford, Sam had a career record of 116 wins and 37 losses. In the spring, Sam was a 2-year letter winner on the Stratford baseball team. His junior year, the Tigers were 9-9 and losing in the regionals to Athens. Sam batted .232 with 2 RBIs. His senior year, the Tigers were 10-7 on the season, losing to Marathon in the regional finals. Sam batted .265 with 6 RBIs. After graduation, Sam enrolled at UW La Crosse and joined the Eagles wrestling program. His freshman year, wrestling at 141 pounds, Sam was 4-3 on the season. His sophomore year, wrestling at 149 pounds, he was 6-3 on the season. His junior year, again wrestling at 149 pounds, Sam was 19-17, finishing 3rd at the WIAC tournament. His senior year, wrestling at 149 pounds, he was 14-12 on the season, finishing 4th at the WIAC tournament. For his career at UW La Crosse, Sam had a record of 43 wins and 36 losses. Sam graduated from UW La Crosse in 2021 with a bachelor's degree in biology education. Today, Sam is employed by the Wake County Public School System in Raleigh, North Carolina, as a high school science teacher and assistant wrestling coach. Sam resides in Raleigh, North Carolina. Sam Wenzel, Larry.
Wow, he's away from home.
Yeah, these guys are getting farther.
Yeah,
I said Alaska last week.
Yeah.
Carolina. Nobody wants to stay home anymore.
I guess not.
See the world.
Yep. Get the opportunities where you can.
Absolutely.
All right, a couple of programming notes here. You'll notice on 92.3 FM WOSQ that Two Guys on Sports is now at 9:30 on Thursday mornings. Still just after 10 on 98.5 FM, 1370 AM WCCN. Also, the Titletown Report returns on Monday, and you can hear it on 107.5 FM WCCN The Rock at 7:35 in the morning and 4:35 in the afternoon, and WOSQ at 7:26 in the morning.
With Bill Scott.
Yes. Yes, and speaking of the Packers,
interesting.
Not much to talk about after that first preseason.
Yeah, I thought they would come out a little better than that, Larry. Very poor performance, especially they had pretty much your first string offense out there, but
even their defense didn't.
Yeah, their defense. I thought their defense looked worse than their offense, if that's possible, because it looked like the Jets really blew him off the ball. Braylon Allen, a couple of those runs, he hardly got touched before he was 10 yards downfield. But I will say this about the Jets: the Packers looked like they didn't have anything to prove, but the Jets looked like they're trying to prove themselves. And then you have rookie coach Aaron Glenn, who last year was a defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
Does anybody know the Packers better than Aaron Glenn? So
Yes.
maybe Ben Johnson, who's with the Bears now.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but it's I guess you got to shrug it off. You did have an injury to Love's left thumb. He's going to have a little surgery on it, but he should be back for the regular season.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but other than that, they didn't have some defensive backs. McKinney was out, Nate Hobbs was out, a couple others. So I don't know.
But it wasn't the passing game really that.
No,
it was Braylon Allen.
Braylon. Yeah, wow.
Running the football.
Yeah,
and they had all their guys
Yeah.
up front.
yeah. It's holds. I didn't. I thought that was a better front line and linebacker core, and they just got blown off the ball quite a bit. So, something to watch for. So, but anyway, this week they are having joint practices down in Indianapolis, and then they will play the Colts Saturday at noon. So, but we'll see. So it's work in progress.
I watched Colin Cowherd the other day. And
Yes.
he had the Packers #1 in the NFC North.
Okay, well, I look for the Lions to take a step back, Larry. I do, because new coordinators. Ben Johnson, that was Ben Johnson's offense, and then they've lost their center, Frank Ragnow, retired this year.
Okay.
And they lost, and another offensive lineman, he was a Badger guy, older guy, Kevin Zeitler.
Okay.
He moved on in free agency.
Okay.
So they're going to have some changes up front. So, but we'll see what losses the two coordinators does. But
And the Vikings in that division.
Yeah,
and the new quarterback.
and
And a rookie who hasn't, basically a rookie because he didn't play last year.
No, and so we'll see what happens. I watched them a little bit last weekend, and he looked pretty good. But again, it's a preseason. So, and then the Bears, I think, are a work in progress too. It's Ben Johnson's got a whole different way of doing things. Is Caleb Williams going to be able to play his way? Because you look how Jared Goff played for the Lions under Ben Johnson. I don't see Caleb Williams playing that quite under control. So, and because Goff, very few interceptions.
And Goff was an older, experienced
absolutely,
quarterback.
and a lot more weapons too. So we'll see what happens. But the Bears and the Buffalo are on national TV on Fox Sunday night. So,
okay.
So,
all right, there you go. Chance to see
what they're at.
Of course,
so.
it's the second game of the preseason. You really probably won't see a lot of starters.
No, and there's only 3 preseason games, so you need all the time you can to evaluate your how many roster spots you need to fill. So those are the guys that need to play and get the playing time.
Yeah, and some teams need more of their starters to play.
Absolutely,
just to get more time.
Well, you talk about Chicago. Ben Johnson probably wants to see Caleb Williams run their offense more or something like that. I'm not saying he's going to play, but I wouldn't expect to see Buffalo out there with too many guys.
No, I wouldn't think.
No. So, but,
how about the guy that kicked the 70-yard field goal?
Cam Little.
But it don't count as a record.
No. He nailed her too.
Well, that would kind of suck, wouldn't it?
Ooh, yeah, because I'll tell you that. Well, of course, it was at the end of the half. It was at the end of a half.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yep.
So it's a possibility, but wow, and the open air stadium too. It's not like it was in a climate controlled place. So, down in I think it was in Jacksonville. So you got a little humidity and stuff like that. But
boy, they panned back when he was doing it, And that's a long way. That's 10 yards past the 50-yard line.
And this is not college either, where you have a tee to set it on. The pros set it on the ground, so he's got that much more lift, and you can't kick it that high anyway because it's got to be coming on a line.
Yeah.
So you got to clear the lines, and so to me that's amazing. And
I didn't really see how far it went over. I saw the guy catch it, but I couldn't tell if it just made it over.
A couple yards, it didn't touch anything, I guess. So, but. We'll see if he tries it in the regular season. It's always you catch a ball around midfield and you got 3 seconds left. Well, this guy might buy you a weapon. So, but
he's not that big of a guy.
No, he's not. I thought he was about 5'10", about 200.
Yeah,
but it's all leg, I guess. So.
I don't know how those guys do that.
I don't either. But I'll tell you what, that was amazing, and I hope we get a chance because the guy deserves to have a chance to do it in the regular season. So
whether or not he'll get another chance,
and he's got some leeway there because the league record is 66.
66, yeah.
So 67, 68. I hope we get a chance to see it, Larry.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
So
well, the hottest news in sports these days is of course the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable what these guys are doing. Not I think it's great, but. You go back to May 25th, Larry, they were 39 and 35, 6.5 games behind. August 13th, they were 75-44, 7.5 games ahead. Swing of 14 games. 36-9 since May 25th. That's an .800 winning percentage. That's unbelievable.
It is.
For that many games. It is just unbelievable. So, and the thing I see, it's coming. There's nobody carrying this team. I mean, it's coming up and down the lineup. One day it'll be the end of the lineup. The other day, front end of the lineup. For the most part, your pitchers are giving them 6 innings, quality starts. Bullpen pretty much been lights out. So it's.
Well, I mean, you got guys like, Isaac Collins gets a game-winning. It's like around the league, they're probably going, who is Isaac Collins?
Isaac Collins was a Rule 5 draft pick that I believe was from St. Louis or Colorado. That he didn't normally a Rule 5 has to stay on your roster all season.
Okay.
Well, they made a deal to keep him in the minors last year. Well, here he is starting. You know, and who knows if Mitchell doesn't get hurt, or would he even be up here?
Right.
But you know, it's. And Perkins, too. He was up here because Perkins and Mitchell did not start the season. Well, he's played himself into a role. So.
And now, Jackson Cheerio, Reese Hoskins, as far as those guys, they're going to be like free agents coming in there.
Well, and Bowers, too.
Yeah,
Bowers, I don't think there's a place for him on the roster.
And Cheerio comes back.
Yeah.
He was your leading hitter, but.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
these guys are hot.
The one good thing, they do get to add a few guys for September.
Right.
So, and that'll probably be the guys they add. But, how do you pull Andrew Vaughn off there?
I know.
And Reese Hoskins, they haven't even talked about him coming back yet. He's not even being close to rehab. But Bowers, I don't see where he's going to fit in.
Yeah.
It's
and Cheerio. I think the middle of this month. I thought was
Cheerio. You can rotate 4 outfielders pretty well. Collins has such a nice advantage. He's a switch hitter.
Right.
And as is Perkins.
Okay.
But and Perkins with tremendous defense, but in center. So, and Frelick is pretty much every day in right too. He's not a. He and Terang are the 2 guys that really don't really get platooned with. So but you look at a couple of these trades that the Brewers have made over the last couple of years. How about Caleb Durbin for Devin Williams? Who's winning that trade right now? And then they also got Nestor Cordes. Well, they swung Nestor Cordes for Brandon Lockridge, another outfielder.
And how about that one?
Yeah. So I think the Brewers front office really gets a big thumbs up for this whole thing, Larry. So
and how about Quinn Priester?
Yeah, the 11-2. I forget what they traded him for with the Red Sox, but I'm sure they didn't give away too much for him. So,
no,
but
he's having a heck of a year. That pitching staff is
and their bullpen. If Shelby Miller works out, they've got 5 quality arms for the late innings with him and Mears, Koenig, and
Ashby
and Uribe, Ashby, and then DL Hall has looked good, and then McGill on the end. So
Anderson,
Grant Anderson. So there aren't many dogs down there. So it's if they get through 5 innings with a lead, that's usually pretty good. Yep, look out. So
and you look at the Cubs, who are trailing by 7.5, and it's the opposite with them.
Yep.
Once they get to the bullpen, that's when things explode on them.
Yep, because they got Assad gave him a pretty good pitching performance, but after that it wasn't much last night. But how about Dalton Varsho hitting a home run in that game?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, he did.
Okay, he's back. Okay,
yep, Dalton Varsho's back.
Well, good for him.
He hit a home run to make it 5-2, I believe, last night.
Good for him.
Yep,
good for him.
So it's on national TV. So
yeah, there you go. So the Brewers, just a remarkable season continuing on.
But at Cincy this weekend, 3 big games. Cincy's still in the hunt for a wild card.
Yep.
Monday, doubleheader at Chicago, and then single games Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
So there are all 5 in a row. Okay.
5 in a row.
I wasn't sure if they had one.
Yeah. So that's kind of make or break for Chicago. And
well, I tell you, if the Brewers get up,
yeah.
I told my son the other night, I said if the Brewers get up by 8.5 games, they could get swept and still be 3.5 games up.
Right. So, but you look at how their pitching is setting up already. Their first 2 games, they're going to have Peralta and Woodruff. So. And then I believe Priester pitched Friday. So
and Mizorowski, they're saying, is going to pitch Friday somewhere.
Yeah. And Logan Henderson, I believe, is not too long, but they're setting up. Yeah, they've done this all without the Miz, and
he may be back for that series.
Right,
Who knows?
Tobias Myers has filled in pretty nicely too. So
yeah.
So a lot of quality arms, and then Robert Gasser's back on a rehab assignment. The left-hander who started off so nice last year and then had Tommy John Series. So they've got an abundance of starting pitching.
Yeah. All right.
So.
Well, we'll see what happens down the line.
Yep,
That's Two Guys on Sports for this week. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you again next week.